News has just dropped that Football Manager 25 has been delayed until March 2025. As of recording, that's 5 months away right now. Sports Interactive have just released this statement, so we'll go through it. After careful consideration, they've made the tough decision to further delay the release of Football Manager 25 following discussions with Sega, our licensors and partners. We've agreed the best course of action is to delay until March 25. And I'm guessing by the point that says specific platform release dates will follow once confirmed, means there could be further delays for consoles and for mobile. In our last development update in September, we explained that we need to push FM25's original release back to give ourselves more time to deliver the best possible experience for this first instalment of a new era of Football Manager. This additional time has not been sufficient to ensure the game quality and experience meets your expectations and our very high standards. So in case you've missed it all, Football Manager usually releases at the very start of November. Back in early September, they said we're going to push that back to late November because the game's not ready. Obviously now they've realised it's really not ready and they've got to push it back 5 extra months. Now, I want to try and be fair, I have never made a video game myself, let alone one as complicated as Football Manager. To give them the benefit of the doubt, maybe they really did think they could get the game finished in that extra month of delay. But given they've now delayed it 5 months, I really struggle to believe that that was the case. Had they delayed it until the end of December, okay, maybe I could have believed that they thought they could get it out for November, but it was just a little bit too much. The fact they're now waiting until March, man, I mean... whew. I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of people that work on the game. They're not idiots. I really struggle to believe that they saw the state the game's in and thought, we can fix all of that within a month, when it turns out they've actually had to delay it an extra 4-5 months. If the game now isn't going to be near ready until March, there is no way it was ever going to make that November 26th deadline. So why they made the initial decision to only delay by a month, I don't know. There's a lot of things that go into this. I mean, part of it is going to be the fact that Sports Interactive, who make the game, they are a subsidiary of Sega, and Sega will have deadlines for Sports Interactive to meet. Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it's the people lower down the pecking order telling management that the game's going to be ready, it's fine, and then management suddenly realise, maybe it's not fine, let's push it back even further. Or maybe it's the heads of studio not having been in this position before and not quite knowing how to handle it. I don't know. There's so many different factors that could go into this, but it just feels, I don't know. Someone knew that this was not going to come out in November when they announced November, and that doesn't sit well with me. I think they've really messed up there. In the previous blog, we explained it's been a difficult time for us in the studio, things are moving slower than predicted, everyone's working really hard. This is interesting, timelines were already tight, and as rightly pointed out by many of your recent comments, we were simply rushing too much and in danger of compromising our usual standards. FM25 is the biggest technical and visual advancement in the series for a generation. We simply cannot compromise the delivery of this crucial juncture in Football Manager's history by rushing it to release in November. To be honest, I would rather them delay the game than release something that's completely broken. From a selfish point of view, it's my job to make videos on Football Manager. I don't do FIFA, I don't do Battlefield. You guys subscribe and watch my content because it's Football Manager. If they release a game that's half-baked, broken, rubbish in November, and it's quite obviously broken and you guys just aren't interested in watching it, that's my career over, really. You know, unless something miraculous happens, that could be the end of it. So from my point of view, delaying it to make sure it's actually right is the right decision, although I am obviously really, really disappointed by this news. It would also do irreparable damage if they release a broken game and everyone loses faith in Football Manager. They've got such good momentum right now. I think it's 10 million players or 10 million downloads of the game in FM24. I mean, that's massive. That's huge. If they release a broken game, lose all that momentum, it could take years to ever recover, if they could recover. You see so many examples of games being released broken, they lose the player base and it takes them years to sort of fix it, and it's not a good look. I mean, to be fair, they kind of say that here. We always consider the bigger picture, and the bigger picture here is that we need additional time to deliver a game that we can all be proud of. For the large number of you who have already pre-ordered the game, we thank you very much and trust your support. Given the delay, however, should you wish to claim a refund, please contact your retailer. Yeah, I feel pretty bad about that, on the grounds that I have a pre-order link which I get commission from when you buy the game, right? I've only actually mentioned that in one video so far, And in that video, I did say only pre-order if you buy FM25 every single year. We've not seen any gameplay yet, so don't pre-order until gameplay if you're unsure. But I know a lot of you have used that link already to pre-order the game, and obviously now we've got to wait a lot longer for it, and it's not what you've paid your money for, essentially. I feel, obviously, there's not really much I can do about that. I finally missed out at the same time as you, but I feel a bit bad about that. So, yeah. Really now, do not pre-order the game. We have to wait until whenever they eventually do start releasing actual gameplay to decide if we're going to buy it or not. I mean, I will. I'll make the game right. I mean, I've got it on pre-order already, so I'm going to keep it. But I would encourage you lot to not pre-order yet. I'll take out all the links to the pre-orders in videos so far. I may as well put the FM24 ones back in there, given I'm going to play it for another 5 months now. Something you noted is missing from our announcement on September 30th was a mention of advanced access on PC and Mac. We can confirm that advanced access will be available ahead of the new release date, and when we are confident on how long that period will be, we will update you at the first opportunity. The new gameplay reveal will now also move to the end of January 2025. So, reading between the lines there, they just didn't have any gameplay to show us, like it's just not ready. They literally cannot show us the gameplay because the game isn't in a state to show it off. So the reason there was no mention of early access, or advanced access as they're calling it, is purely because there was not going to be a guarantee that the game would be ready until literally the hours before the game's meant to come out. And obviously, if that's the case, why did they initially delay it a month rather than just tell us it's not going to be ready for a long time, we need more? I don't get it. So obviously, I'm annoyed. And I feel let down, disappointed. I think they've really messed up. It's so frustrating as well that by reading this article, it's frustrating that actually it just turns out the game's not ready. It's not working yet. They first announced this big change coming for FM25 before they even announced FM24 was coming out. I think my assumption back then would have been, okay, they've been working quite hard on this. It's probably getting towards a state where it's ready to start being played, because they started work on this Unity engine like back in FM21, 22 sort of days. But now maybe it seems like they made the decision to jump to Unity without really putting in a massive amount of groundwork. So I know a lot of you will be saying something like, well, why didn't they push Unity back to FM26 to avoid all of this mess if they knew it wasn't going to be ready? My assumption is they would have just started a year later on what they had to do, and we'd be in this mess just 12 months down the line instead with 26 rather than 25. Personally, I think we need some more answers. You know, this press release isn't very long at all. It just says it's been delayed because they need more time. Things are moving slower than predicted. I have a lot of questions, and I'm sure you guys have got a lot of questions as well. So I have, I'm privileged enough to have a bit of a direct access to the social media team at Football Manager. Put your questions in the comment section right now. Put them all in there. And then I'm going to go to them with all these questions, and I'm going to say, how many of these can you answer? Because I'm sure a lot of them they probably can't answer, but I'm going to try my best to try and get some answers for you guys, and I'm sure you've got specific questions that I can't think of right now because my head's all over the place with this one. But put your questions down in the comment section, I'll see what I can do. So now we have 5 more months of FM24 to play. Hopefully Sports Interactive, they'll have someone at least looking into trying to release a data update. I'm sure they've got a full database for FM25 with all the transfers and updated player current abilities. Whether they're allowed to legally, because I don't know how the licensing works. Again, I don't make games. I don't work in legal. I don't quite know how this all works. In an ideal world, it would be great for them to release a data update right now to update all the teams and all the leagues in Football Manager. That way you could start a new game as Ipswich in the Premier League, for example, with all their current players. It would be lovely if they could do that. However, they probably won't be able to do that. So in the meantime, you could just use some mods instead. If you just Google FM24 data update, the Sort Out SI one I believe is a paid one. If you go to FM Scouts, there is a ton of data updates here. This one, transfer and data update pack. This includes all the transfers, agents, current potential and ability changes, okay, and then a few of the leagues as well that have changed. Once you download the file, it should be in your downloads. Copy the file, go to Documents, Sports Interactive, Football Manager 2024, Editor Data, and then all the editor data, just paste it in there. These are all the ones I've been using over the past few weeks. When you start a new game, press Career Mode. At the top here, database, click on that. Just make sure all the ones that you want to use are ticked, press confirm and start your game. At least it means you can play FM24 with some updated databases for teams in different leagues. It's only just hit me as well. What does this mean going forwards for FM26, right? If FM25 is delayed until March, is FM26 still planned to come out in November 2025, or is that now going to be delayed as well? Is it going to take a few years to get back into the normal routine of releases? Oh, again, all these questions. I have no idea. We need to ask Sports Interactive this, don't we? Comment, questions. I'll do my best to try and get some answers. Anyway, they're my thoughts. I want to know some of your immediate thoughts, so I'm sure it's going to be very reasonable over on Twitter and Reddit. 1,200 likes in 12 minutes. Oh no. Focus on FM26 then, we can still play 24, you just need to release a transfer update, the official one. Again, legally, I don't know what they can actually do with the licenses they've got, I don't really know how it works. Also, they are a subsidiary of Sega. Sega are a publicly listed company in Japan. I'm pretty sure they like money as well, so having a year without a game, that's not a great look. Although in the half an hour since the announcement, the stock price has not changed at all. I doubt it's going to have much of an impact on their stock price. Yeah, Murat is exactly what I was thinking at the start of the video. When you shared the trailer and roadmap recently, did you believe the game could be released on November 26th? Given it's been delayed 5 months, I genuinely think that people there realised it was not going to be there on November 26th. That's what really annoys me, actually. That's what... If it's been delayed 5 months, it's obvious. Must have always been obvious. A lot of people just saying don't even bother releasing at this point. Just go for 20... I mean, this is where it affects me as a creator, right? You know, I've now got to think of 5 more months of FM24 content, which I can do, you know, that's fine. Basically, just a lot of my FM25 plans are just going to get moved into FM24, right? And I do like to think, actually, that people who watch my videos, they're not there because it's specifically Football Manager. The Football Manager is the vehicle for me to tell a story, right? And that it's a story that you guys like. However, at some point, you know, there might be some viewer fatigue. You know, there's only so much looking at FM24 screens you can do. If that goes on till March, that's all right. If it ends up having to be until November next year for FM26 or something like, that's a long time with no new game, which can be quite tough on the viewer. I love Johnny Sharples. Does this have any impact on people still playing FM30? At least something's made me laugh today, that's quite good. Twitter's not actually that bad, to be fair. I thought it'd be worse reaction on there. Let's look at this cesspit, shall we? Oh, dear me. How would you develop its successor in 6 months if you can't even get the first one out in 2 years of work? I mean, that's my concern as well. My assumption now is FM26 will be delayed too. But to be fair, they've taken so much out of 25. In those 6 months, they could work on things like international management to put it back in, and that's a new feature sort of thing. I don't know. It probably means that everything is kind of shifted backwards for what was planned for 26 and planned for 27 and planned for... Like, it must be all shifted back now. Yeah, Reddit's a little bit more toxic than Twitter is. We've got some absolute scum behaviour here from SI to solicit pre-orders despite knowing what a terrible state the game was in. To be fair, I don't think Sports Interactive probably have that much control over it. I suspect that is all controlled by Sega, who are the parent company. I don't actually think Sports Interactive will have had a sit-down meeting and said, let's do this. I think that's just, they've been told to do that. None of this is ideal at all, is it? So actually, it's probably quite a nice time for me to say, I really, really appreciate you guys for watching all my videos and content. Please keep watching over the next few months before FM25 comes out. You guys allow me to have this dream job, so, you know, the little I can do back is try and put your questions to Football Manager themselves and try and get some answers for us. Gameplay reveal will now also move to the end of January 2025. So I guess I'll be seeing you guys in January to talk about FM25. Hopefully we get some more information before then, but based on what we've seen today, I wouldn't count on it too much.